Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. We'll be getting started here in a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks to everyone who's joined so far. We'll be getting started here in a minute.
I don't think we should stay quiet, right? We can talk, make
Yes,
jokes.
feel free.
We are humans.
Actually, I think it's first time the four of us are having a webinar together. Also
Yes,
yeah,
I have the same
pretty
feeling.
cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty big team this time.
Yeah, I like the fact that we are collaborating here all together.
Also, Microsoft is a big thing. The portfolio is really broad, which requires a lot of us to cover all of this, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I have 11:30, so my time, 5:30 for a lot of other people, but let's go ahead and get started. So hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Unlocking Hidden Threat Intelligence in Your Microsoft-powered SOCs. I'm thrilled to have you join us for what promises to be a highly practical demo-driven session. In the next hour, we're going to explore how VMRay enhances and extends your Microsoft Defender and Sentinel environments to uncover deeper insights into attacker behaviors, enrich your alerts, and feed actionable intelligence right back into your SOC for stronger, faster defenses. We'll be joined by three of VMRay's product experts who you've already heard talking, Uriel Cohen, Serge, Haumont, and Andrey Voitenko, who will guide you through live demonstrations today. Whether you're looking to get more value from your Microsoft stack or sharpen your SOC's response capabilities, you're in the right place. We'll dive right into the demo shortly, but first, a quick thank you for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it. Feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A panel as we go along, and we'll address as many as we can during the session. Now, let's get started. Uriel, over to you.
Thank you, Tucker, and hi, everyone. I'm just going to cover a couple of slides as an intro and hand it over to Serge and Andrey. And I'll start by saying, it probably sounds like a total cliche coming from a product person, but I'm a big believer in working closely with our customers, because in the end, it's all about understanding customer needs. And what makes it even more exciting is that over the years with VMRay, I've seen over half of Fortune 100 companies adopting our technologies for achieving different goals. And we kind of, it allows us and provide us an intimate view into global security trends, which I believe it's fairly unique for a company the size of VMRay. We're really seeing a lot of interesting trends out there. And one of the trends we've been observing over at least the last 12 months is that enterprise SecOps are adopting and building more and more analysis and response capabilities in-house, especially around phishing and malware, and shifting away from outsourcing. And that's a pretty unique and refreshing change after probably about a decade of a lot of outsourcing. And we believe there are three drivers for this trend. And I want to start by speaking about that. So the first one is security has become a core business risk and not just an operation. And this is causing large enterprises to shift away from outsourcing in order to gain more control on their business. If this is a core business risk, they really need to be able to maneuver where and shift priorities and really do the heavy lifting themselves. The second one is that significant investments were made in the last few years to turn the traditional siloed approach around into a more consolidated, interconnected security. And you probably heard a lot about XDR approach. I believe at the essence, it was about connecting endpoint and network security together. And these were pretty substantial investments, but guess what? Those tools don't manage themselves. And the third one, I will say, is that we see user-reported phishing programs are now becoming a common practice. And due to the fact that phishing has never stopped being a #1 infection vector, despite all sorts of investments, and these programs are maybe easy to deploy, but pretty hard to manage. So in turns, this trend basically led to a new problem. And we now see that it adds more and more pressure that falls on the SOC, who are now spending tremendous amount of time operating their malware and phishing defenses. Whether it's triaging alerts or improving proactively with threat intelligence. And luckily enough, VMRay has been very, I would say, laser focused for many years now on eliminating unnecessary manual work in threat analysis and detection. And what makes this webinar so exciting for me is that we're finally able to deliver these capabilities natively to Microsoft customers. So I'll now hand it over to Serge, and Andrey, who can cover now how this is actually working.
Yes. So if you look what Microsoft is doing, it's doing a great work at protecting you. It has many layers. It can handle a mass amount of information. It can detect and block the attacks. But when it blocks the attacks, what you basically do is you lose the visibility in what the attacker will do next. So what VMRay can do, where it can help, is that it actually lets the attack run. It lets it run, of course, in an evasion-resistant sandbox. So it can see what was the intention of the attacker and what it wants to do. So it's more like just a second opinion. It's really investing a bit more time analyzing with dynamic analysis to see really what you are getting into. And we're going to see in the demos that actually you can see that you blocked a phishing message or suspicious URL, but we can get the malware it was dropping. But I will let Andrey expand on this concept with the broad context and the deep context.
Yeah, thank you very much, Serge. Right, to go further on your example, we can imagine a typical incident within the XDR program, say, I don't know, phishing email detection or malware detection. What we usually start looking after when we have a detection is some extra context from our XDR sensors. We look into where does the sample came from, who was the author of the email to maybe block same emails originating from the same sender or that were run through the same server and so on. We look into network connections to identify how the file was copied. We look into the user session to understand whether the user came with the VPN, and so on and so forth. So basically, we are collecting all the info that we can get that can help us pivot and understand what were the previous steps of the attack and what other info we can get from a different sensors that we have deployed throughout our XDR program. However, when we do just that part of the things, we get a lot of super valuable information already that allow us to pivot, that allow us to generate IOCs, and that allow us to better respond to an incident by not just blocking a single hash within the network, but also dropping network connections, reassigning user rights, and so on and so forth. There is, however, the second part that is like really often missing, which is a deep concept. And basically, that's to better illustrate that, it's just the answer to the question: what would happen if the attack would continue? What files would be downloaded? What new connection to C2s would be made that were not actually made ever because the attack was blocked by Microsoft? All this information is still at our hands potentially, but we are not utilizing it by default because the attack was stopped, everything was blocked, and we never looked one step further. We don't need to do that to stay protected from that exact threat. But in terms of gathering more intel and understanding what's the landscape behind the current attack and maybe similar attack in the network, this information is also super valuable. So we currently, we very much encourage you not to look into the broad context, to look at just the broad context as the part of your XDR program, but also look deeper. Serge, over to you.
Yes. So now I would like to speak a bit how we integrate on a very high level with Microsoft and basically which team can benefit. So at the core, we monitor the alert coming from Microsoft. So we monitor everything which is suspicious, malicious. So we definitely rely on Microsoft to do the detection. Well, once we get an alert, we are going to get a URL or to get a file, depending on the case, which is part of the alert, and to analyze it to know more. And once we run the analysis, we really bring three main benefits. So the first one will be the one on the bottom. We extract the IOCs. We pay a lot of attention to extract only the malicious IOCs. And that basically can be passed back to Defender, and it can be used to block further attack, or Defender or Sentinel. Or you can also do threat hunting to see if the similar attack has happened somewhere else in your network. And that can happen pretty automatically. The second value, which is the one we speak the most of the time, is you can enrich the alert, and you can provide the verdict, threat names, threat indicator, much more information directly in a comment into the alert. And that really is very useful for the SOC analyst. It's very useful, of course, when you have malware, you know more what it is, but very often what you face as a SOC analyst will be something suspicious, something you are not sure. And then very often we can bring clarity. We can say it's false positive, or we can say it's a malware. So that's a big simplification for the work of SOC analyst, and it's also help even junior SOC analysts to make a quick decision. Of course, sometimes the information is not enough. Sometimes you want to go deeper. Sometimes you believe there's an incident and you want to see what has really happened on the network. But at that point, we have actually analyzed in VMRay those files and URL. So you can go back from an incident, you can pivot to the VMRay report. And in VMRay report, you have much more. So then you can go down to MITRE, you can go down to the process tree, you can see the memory dump, you can see the pickup. You can go really in great detail to understand what has happened. And this is information we capture at the time of the incident. So most likely when we run the analysis, the attack was active. So the command and control center were active, or the phishing website were active. So really those are three values we provide to three teams, typically VMRay work for: the CTI team, the SOC team, and the incident response team. And now I think next, I let Andrey introduce a demo we are going to go through.
Absolutely, but before that, let me pivot again back to broader versus deeper, into broader and deeper. A good XDR, it's not the one that just goes broad. A good XDR is also one that goes deep. And I believe Serge's explanation on how exactly and where exactly VMRay can help SOC team, also CERT team and the TI team work together and get extra intel on every sample they have in their network, not just something they receive from the security vendor, but also what they see in their network is pivotal. To briefly introduce our capabilities again and the following demo, imagine that you are, I don't think you should imagine that you are, most probably are already, a big Microsoft run or a big SOC powered by Microsoft with the full XDR program in place or part of the XDR program in place. Then maybe your single pane of glass is the XDR console, or maybe you also have Sentinel as a SIEM, as a single pane of glass for some other security tools, also networking tools. You run some correlations. You do have some cross incidents. You go hunt with KQL and so on and so forth. What exactly value can VMRay bring you? Where exactly can we become a part of your product stack, and what is an extra that is very important again in terms of getting bigger intel on like every alert we can bring to you. This demo, and that's the last slide, I believe, before the wrap up of the webinar. Now it will be just full demo. This demo will consist of two parts. The first one is where Serge will tell you how exactly you can enrich all of your alerts that are coming with O365, as well as Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And the second one, which is about Sentinel and what intel, but also how you can enrich incidents there, will be led by me. Again, the final slide, a rather short presentation and a lot of demo ahead.
Andrey, really quick, we had a question. In a big organization, how can VMRay be competitive in terms of pricing versus submissions? And what would be the impact on JOBs within VMRay submissions where a big organization can easily have thousands of events that need deeper investigation?
We can scale to be enabled to parse thousands of events to start from the end. But what I want I heard something about pricing. The question was a rather long story. I'm not saying it now, but I can tell you that we have different tiers that can accommodate more or less every reasonable request that you might have.
Yeah, I can just add on top, while Andrey, you are preparing for the demo, that the VMRay final verdict product can accommodate around 300,000 to 400,000 detonations a month, with the higher plans, and we are definitely competitive in pricing with VMRay final verdict. So you're welcome to reach out and get a bit more information around that.
And of course, we do cache the results. So if we have the same file detonated on multiple devices, because that's quite common in a network that suddenly same alert come in many places, we will analyze it only once. So the rest will be served from cache. So it can scale pretty high. And we see very big enterprise that use our solution. So you should not be worried about the scalability part. Okay, so now what I'm sharing and what you should see is Defender portal, and you can see there are many alerts there. Some email has been reporting by a user. You got some phishing blocks. You got some malware detected by basically Defender for Endpoint, and so on. You can also, by the way, always create custom alerting. So Microsoft is quite powerful for that. So if you want some special queries that trigger some alert, you can always do it. What we do is when we get an alert, we try to get the evidence. So let's first see this. What is this email reported by user here? So here, let me scroll down. So you can see that there are the comments here. And when I scroll down, I will find that actually some evidence has been found, some file. We can see the SHA here. And it's a child sample of another analysis we did. And this file, what is it? It's a backdoor, it's an injector. And basically, it's something called Remco. So Remco is a very quite active malware. It came from actually a legit product originally that has been abused for years by malware actor. And then why do VMRay think that is actually malicious? You can see our threat identifier. So we match it through Yara rule. We detect it through heuristic scan, and so on and so forth. So you can see some process hollowing, writing memory of the process, all kind of behaviors that are very, very typical from malware actor.
I believe these are the most interesting things. Like if you have a match on Yara, that basically means that you are hunting for the known family already. However, when the decision is made due to the fact that you just detect that they attempt to write into another process memory and also delaying of execution and so on, that's what gives you some extra insight, right?
Mm.
I'm super excited to see this always. Sorry for jumping in and interrupting.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great because that's what I want to say. You probably want to go deeper into the Yara and check what it was. But before I jump there and jump basically to VMRay console, you can see the second analysis we did. It was on a URL. So that is the one that has been submitted. This is not a trial. It was malicious. And on this one, we didn't have that much info. It's only when we basically detonated what it has been dropping that we got much more background. So now the other things you have here is actually you have a URL that go directly to your VMRay console. So let's say the analyst is not convinced or want to understand more, you can jump to VMRay console. And here you find this analysis, which was Remco. Let's go to the overview first. You can see, okay, I got some Yara detection. What is it? So now you know exactly what kind of Yara detection it is. You can note they were detected on memory dump. So that's an output of the dynamic analysis. So you cannot get those memory dump in the static analysis. And of course, we find in multiple place Remco rat, so it's quite clearly identified. And on the rest of the on all the rest, you can also check exactly what happened, in which process happened. You can go down to the process detail. I mean, the goal of the webinar is not to present this product in detail. You have VMRay attack here, and so on and so forth. But the second part, interesting, which I mentioned earlier, was the IOC. So now you can see that we extracted many malicious IOC, many files. What will be interesting will be, for example, the URL. So when we get a malicious IOC, you get this URL. And here you have an IP address. So normally we will block the URL, but if it contains an IP address that is clearly being abused by a threat actor, we are going to use that. And now I'm jumping back to Defender. I'm in settings of Defender, endpoint indicator. So first things you can see here is that there are a number of file hash. They're coming up. They have all been populated by VMRay. You got IP address, you got URL. So now what I want to do is to check the IP address I just copy from VMRay console here. And you can find that this IP address, of course, has been pushed to Defender indicator. When you open it, you have a bit more information as well. So here you can see, okay, it block execution. That's how you configure it. In that case, you can change the configuration, of course. And here is in the description where you can find a few interesting. First, the alert ID in Defender. So you can check from your Defender portal by which alert ID it was generated. You can see from which sample it was generated. So now it was a submission of a URL, this URL. And then you can go to VMRay to see what was the analysis to generate it and when it was created. So that is very important because now you, of course, if you start from the incident, you can know this information, but sometimes you will start from an alert who tell you that something has been blocked by a VMRay indicator, and you wonder, what was this indicator? Why was it created? And you can basically backtrack and understand the full chain and link event together. So now if you go back, if we will go back to another case. So that was a case from Defender for Office. Now let's look at a case from Defender for Endpoint. For example, Taskun malware was prevented. Okay, I don't know what is Taskun malware. Let's have a look. You can see the timeline, and now I will scroll down a bit, try to look for if VMRay have more information about that. So VMRay confirm it's malicious, and it's an injector and spyware. Oh, so that's what it is. It's a VIP keylogger. So quite a nasty malware, very good at stealing all kind of information. And now I can see the identifier I have. Interesting one is that we extracted the configuration of VIP keylogger. So again, very good indication that we identify the right malware. And you have a lot indication in that case. So you can see many things where I try to evade basically sandbox. It tries also to modify Windows Defender configuration. So in that case, it's still detected by Windows Defender, but it's the typical cat and mouse game where probably maybe when it was launched, it has found a way to bypass it, or I don't know. And now it's blocked again, and so on. So now let's see, because I got this malware configuration, and I might be a bit interested to see actually what it is. So here is my VIP keylogger. And now if you want to know more, you can see in VMRay portals malware configuration, and here you will see that you have SMTP server, you can see email address, you can see encryption key, and so on. So all kind of information that, of course, you will not have captured if you will not have fully detonated that malware and analyzed it. And again, you can see process tree. It survived the reboot, so we had to reboot it to see the full behavior. You can see the MITRE attack framework and so on. So that's what I wanted to present you about Defender. We covered Defender for Office, and I forgot to mention Defender for Office is almost there commercially. We still need 1 week to finish the development. We have a few things to polish, but basically it's already working, and we will launch it in 1 week. Defender for Endpoint is available, and you can use it basically today. But now, depending what you are using, you may be using Sentinel, so I will leave the floor to Andrey to tell you more how we integrate with Sentinel. Andrey.
Absolutely.
Please.
Thank you very much, Serge. I'm sending you a request to allow me to share.
Okay, I'll stop sharing then.
Real quick,
right.
while we're switching to, we had a question. Is there a way of looking up the VMRay samples related to an alert or incident from the VMRay interface? Are there associations made to an alert/incident within VMRay, or do we need to go to the incident alert first and follow the links from the activity log?
So at the moment, you will see in the VMRay interface a tag telling you where it comes from, but we don't have yet the incident association. We plan to add it as a tag, but it's not yet available. But we should do it.
It will appear there, yeah, pretty soon for both integrations. Before I jump into the Sentinel part, I wanted to emphasize again one thing, and the Sentinel integration is mostly about bringing threat intel that you have generated with VMRay, bringing IOCs into Microsoft Sentinel threat intel storage. There are also some additional capabilities, but I'll show you in a sec. What I wanted to say is, okay, the whole idea of detonating your alerts with a sandbox and generating some intel there sounds lucrative, good, but not everybody is doing it today. Let's call it like that. There are many sandboxes around there. The question is like,
Andrey.
what's up? Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. No, I hear you.
Yeah. Why? What's so special about VMRay and the threat intel that is generated by VMRay? And I do have a perfect example here. The point is this: when you send something for detonation, and you have a goal not just to study the behavior of the sample, but also produce the intel based on that to get IOCs, reliable IOCs, you pretty often face the fact that a typical sandbox is designed to detect something bad, not exactly and not necessarily to produce the reliable IOCs. What usually sandbox is producing and is calling an IOC is something that has changed within the system or some behavior that was observed in the system during the sample execution. Not necessarily a bad behavior, just a behavior. And we at VMRay, we spent really a lot of time by creating a special engine that will filter out all those artifacts, all the changes in the systems, we call them artifacts, that will filter out artifacts that are benign from something that is really associated with the bad behavior, which is IOC. And just to illustrate that, here on the picture, we have 449 different changes in the systems that were made by simply running a Word document. I had occasionally clicked. We got 54 totally benign URLs that would be sent to the blocked list if you blindly trust any changes in the system and use it within your machine-generated stack. Instead of just using something that was cleared out, the pure bad behavior, and that's what we produce at VMRay. So again, that's just to illustrate how much we filter out, and the fact that the intel we produced is really ready for the machine use further on, because it really confirmedly associated with something bad that happened in the system.
And in addition, not only what we produce is accurate, but what we produce is fresh because it's about an attack that has just happened against you, and it's relevant for you because it's somebody targeting you. So typically, those are two characteristics of the IOC you want. You want them to be recent and you want them to be relevant. And when it's from your sandbox, out of your data, that's guaranteed. Andrey, sorry for interrupting.
Always pleasure to have a colleague around. I hope you do not want to kill me anymore for what I raised as a question, even though it wasn't asked. But yeah, all this intelligence generated by VMRay is very much reliable. And let's jump to the Sentinel integration. Like I said, as a result of this integration, you will have all these fresh, thanks to Serge, fresh, ready-made IOCs in your Microsoft Sentinel deployment, so that you can add some automation on top of that and run all your response incident, all your response procedures, or run some special activities like sending the URLs or IPs onto the firewalls, or web security gateways to fill in the block list, reassign user rights, and so on and so forth. All this intel that you produce with VMRay, not necessarily that was submitted from Sentinel. So if you got something from XDR program, if you got something from Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, you got something from Defender for Office, if it was submitted by VMRay, it will end up in your Sentinel console as well. On top of that, it's not just purely Microsoft related. Again, like I said, these are all submissions to VMRay that you've made, which basically means that if someone within your third team has submitted something manually and some IOCs were produced because of that submission, they can end up in this threat intelligence space as well. To give some further notes on what exactly do we have as the second part of the Sentinel integration, we know that some of the customers would love to run their user-reported phishing program on some third-party software, some user-reported phishing platform, or even their own security stack, and the mailbox, which is picked up later on by Sentinel, or again by some third parties. The bigger organization is the more sophisticated security setup you usually see there. But the point is, we got many requests from the customers that they do have Sentinel as the single pane of glass, and in Sentinel they do have incidents where URLs are located. Again, VMRay is not just about files, not just about malware. We are also very much growing into the phishing use case, and we see a lot of different submissions around phishing. We also have a huge set of capabilities around phishing, but that's not the topic for today's webinar. What I want to say is we did have requests from customers that said basically, hey, we have incidents in Sentinel. Can we enrich directly there? They are not necessarily coming from Microsoft XDR, where you're already doing this enrichment. We want to get something extra in Sentinel, and we answer to that. The second part of the Microsoft Sentinel integration allows you to enrich any URL that is a part of the incident in Microsoft Sentinel with the same VMRay data that Serge has presented already as the part of the Microsoft XDR stack enrichment. The formatting is a little bit different here, but the whole idea is the same. You can throw in VMRay, you can throw in the URL into VMRay with the help of the logic app, meaning you can trigger it automatically, no problem at all. And what you will get back is the same enrichment in the form of a verdict, classification, as well as the link to the full report. And most importantly, again, I can't stop saying that VTIs, VMRay threat identifiers, which are basically the explanation of what was bad about the sample, so that we have decided that it's bad. It also allows you to quickly understand whether you want to go further with this investigation, or it's clear even from the list. I don't know, you see there, Remco's config was extracted from the file. That's the confirmed malware. You wouldn't doubt a second about that. This integration is available through the GitHub already, not just through the VMRay GitHub, but also it's published in the Sentinel GitHub. In case you trust Sentinel more, I want to download this there. We're currently in the process of certification and publishing this integration to our in the Azure Marketplace to simplify the deployment and the configuration of the integration. It's already available as the pre-publishing phase to some of our customers, and we expect it to be available for all of them when we finish all the tests and so on, which is again a couple of weeks. It's free of charge, as you see on the screen, and as soon as we have it officially published, obviously we will have a huge announcement, and we will again list all the things we can do around Microsoft, and use cases, and how we can help you to get even more intel from your alerts. Serge, over to you.
Okay, so I guess we are going to move to the conclusion.
I should stop sharing, right?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm sharing. You should see the conclusion slide now.
Hey, Serge, real quick, we just had one question. Is VMRay
Yes.
planning to have a SOC 2 accreditation soon?
Sorry, SOC accreditation?
Yeah, SOC 2 accreditation.
Andrey, Uriel, help me. What
I'm not sure about our SOC 2 accreditation. We definitely have ISO 27001. With SOC 2, I'm not aware. Maybe Uriel can help here.
No, this is not planned for the near future.
Okay. So let me try to conclude this webinar, and I trust Andrey and Uriel will help me. So what we wanted to show is basically that it's not enough to block a threat. You need to learn from it. And I think the example where user report an email that end up trying to download Remco is quite useful, because maybe another user has actually downloaded Remco, and maybe you need to track that down in your system. Maybe some other user will receive new phishing message trying to push Remco to them. So you probably want to learn from it and get the information. So that is the the protection part. If you can block actually the command and control center of Fremco, then you will increase your protection pretty automatically. And those IOC, it's not only the Defender for Office case. You saw Sentinel as well, where you might have also URL coming from other source, not necessarily Defender, could be something else that has been provided to Sentinels that we can enrich as well. So it can be very broad, and you can get a lot of really critical IOC out of this integration. The second part is what we highlight quite often, the triage part. A lot of SOC team actually they are suffering because they're just too much to triage, too much information coming in. And when you can simplify that process, you really help them to focus on what matters. And simplifying is just bringing more information. And for the SOC team, we want to bring information in their tool. We don't want to have, yet another extra tool. Of course, we put the most important information in their tool, and there is much more available within VMRay. And when you want to do incident response, then you want to probably go to look more into VMRay, more into the detail of what has happened to understand. And you can really, with VMRay, start from a threat identifier high level, check from which process it originated, go and check the process. So you can go very, very deep, and you can really understand what was happening. And an important part, of course, is that very often an incident response team will analyze something after the event, and then they say, okay, the phishing site is not responding, I really don't know what's happening, or the command and control center is down. Now the report was taken during the incident. Of course, they can resubmit, they can do more things, they can accept the file, but at least they got a view at the time of the incident. Andrey, Uriel, anything to add?
I think you framed it perfectly.
Same here. I think it was great, and I really enjoyed listening most of the time. I only covered the intro, so
yeah,
that's great.
Just another quick question as well. Can I get a copy of this demo?
I guess we'll have a recording.
Yeah, I mean, we typically publish videos of integration demos like we have for any other integration. So I don't know if this particular video, I don't know, I think Tucker and Andrey, that's in the end.
Yeah, and we will follow up with a recording from the entire webinar to everyone that attended today as well.
But we can do better than the recording. You can get a free trial, and we can help you to set up everything in place. And then, it doesn't have to be a demo. You can see what you can get in your network. And
that was the answer I was looking for.
So, and it is not that complicated. Just try it out and see how it helps you. Okay, any more questions from the audience?
Just a few thank yous, but we will hang out on here for another minute or two. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, thank you everyone for taking the time to attend today. We really appreciate it and hope you got a lot out of the webinar.
And try it out. That's our advice.
A quick question. Will VMRay have the functionality of QR code analysis?
Oh, yes.
I'm looking into this right now. Yes, we do have the functionality of QR code analysis. And we can not just identify the QR code in the email body, also in the PDF and Word and so on, attachments to the email. We are also adding the capability to detect very sophisticated edge cases for the QR codes, like splitted QR codes with ASCII symbols, and a lot of things. Just subscribe for a demo. We will definitely be able to talk more and to show you all these nice capabilities around phishing and namely QR codes. Looking forward into this.
All right, thank you, Andrey. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, so thank you for everyone who attended today. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to attend the webinar. Hope you got a lot out of it. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, Tucker, for inviting us.
Yes, thanks for joining. Bye. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.